What is up, metal and heavy music fans? It's Flight of Icarus again with MetalTrenches.com, and it is time for me to pay tribute to one of the greatest US black metal groups that has sadly come to an end, Absu. But before I do that, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel and stick around afterwards because there's plenty more content here for you to enjoy. Now, I discovered Absu in the midst of a bit of a personal black metal renaissance. I had long since kind of resisted the roots of the genre, despite being exposed to the likes of Darkthrone and Mayhem in high school. Back then, I was kind of intrigued by the morbid history surrounding these bands, but largely my primary leanings ended up being in groups like Dimmu Borgir and Cradle of Filth, which, while great bands in their own right, aren't even close to a solid representation of the genre. For some reason, years later, I revisited Bathory and a few other groups, and something just clicked. It sent me on a several-week-long hunt for all of the best black metal that I could find as rated by the community, and ultimately led me to the likes of Inquisition, Nocturnal Mortem, and yes, Absu. Two albums in particular really won me over and continue to floor me every time I listen. The first is 2001's Terra. This thing opens up with bagpipes, and already I was like, whoa, this is this is different as I was listening to all these groups. Like, none of these other groups are doing bagpipes. And then they kick it off with that amazing drum intro to Pillars of Mercy. I was just captivated by the raw production and the blackened thrash style guitars, and also, of course, the staccato vocals, which are just such a trademark of Prescriptor McGovern, who is also the band's drummer. And speaking of which, insane drumming. Like, the Prescriptor may very well be the GOAT of black metal in terms of drumming, because his technicality, like, that is not a common thing in black metal to have like these super technical drums. It's becoming more common now, I would say, but way ahead of its time. And with all these elements coming together, it's just such an exciting experience to listen to. I love that amazing howl too that kicks off A Shield with an Iron Face. This is music that's simply impossible not to tap your foot and bang your head to. It's got this unique, disjointed riffing style that kind of snaps your neck around. This perfect combination of like rapid fire thrash with that black metal influence. You listen to a lot of these melodies and you can't help but like curl your lip up into a snarl. It's just like an unconscious reaction that I have to some of these songs. Mannanen in particular has some amazing drums and infectious riffs, especially that really kind of bouncy melodic one you wouldn't really hear on any other black metal record, and it's just so righteous. And then, of course, like some great little like scream along moments. Like a little later on in the song, there's that part with that Manunu. I also really love the awesome gallop that shows up around the 1 minute mark of the cognate house of courtly witches. And then going back to those staccato vocals and Prescriptor just having such a trademark, instantly recognizable style. This album has a classic weird vocal part on She Cries the Quiet Lake. Nobody but him would decide to deliver the syllables in that particular way. Then you've got From Ancient Times, Four Crossed Wands, Vorage, and on that one, holy shit, that scorching thrash part towards the end. I also love the kind of mystical, fantastical elements and atmosphere. You've got that windy intro to Manannan. You've got talk of witches and magic. You've got the horses winning and swords clashing on the interlude. Just a full package here really coming together on an amazing album. And while I wasn't all that impressed with their initial comeback album, their now final album, Absu with a Z, is my fucking jam. This is arguably, I would say, the best thing that they've ever done. They heightened the production, matured the songwriting and performances. It has this tight as a drum runtime. It's only like just over 30 minutes. And absolute thrill rides from start to finish. There is not a dead moment on this entire thing. Earthripper launches it with another epic scream before rolling into some truly maniacal riffing. What follows is a seemingly endless deluge of almost like the Dillinger Escape Plan sounding guitars channeled through black metal. Speaking of which, this marked the entry of Vis Krom on guitar, and just, man, can they rip. They kind of take what Shaftiel was doing and contort it into something even more monstrous entirely. It's this unrivaled, frenetic, calculated, and oddly melodic guitar work here that definitely rivals Terra in every way. You've also got some cool acoustic and strings to step up the dynamics on Circles of the Oath. Abraxas Connexus is utterly exploding with great hooks and memorable moments from the opening riff to the insane bridge that kicks off around 2:20. Ontologically, It Became Time and Space is another easy favorite. Subtle symphonic elements on an already insane track. And again, my god, those guitars. All of this leading up to this massive progressive closer, and then before you know it, it's over. It's one of my all-time favorite albums, not just from the band, but just in general. It's very re-listenable. Honestly, if you have not heard this thing, what the fuck are you even doing with your life? Like, get on it right now. You will not be able to stop. So the band did have a minor follow-up with this with a single that they did for Adult Swim that came along with a music video, a really solid one too. Both the video and the song are really good. It's called The Hall of Masters. It's got this sort of Cthulhu vibe to the video. And this was the last new music that we got from the band. It was all the way back in 2012. But I am happy to say that I did get to see them live a couple years ago at the Ash Street Saloon, which has also since closed. I actually got this shirt there. They had an amazing presence, just wild looking guys on stage too. Like the bass player was doing all these weird poses and kind of like almost doing like the Korn thing. Cool to see Prescriptor also step out from behind the kit. They had another drummer that did about half the set, so Prescriptor could kind of go out front and play the front man. They even played part of a new song, and they've just been hyping this new album that was supposed to come out for the longest time, and we were all just really excited to hear it. But I do feel privileged that I got to see them and have that experience. Although it was kind of a bummer to see like kind of the low turnout for the people who came out to watch this legendary band who's been around for a very long time. But yeah, the Breakup. It started with me just hearing rumors on social media. I'm kind of in a couple of different musicians groups of people who are connected to these bands, and I saw some stuff going down. Then Prescriptor finally made the official announcement, and it really did break my heart. Like, again, they had been hyping this final album for years. This is one of my favorite black metal bands, and now we hear that this album just isn't going to happen, and not only that, but the band is just done. And so this is not a video about drama. I will say there are two sides to every story, sometimes 3 or 4, and ultimately I wasn't there, and it's really none of my goddamn business why it happened. I hate people that kind of pile on and decide to take sides and whatever. It's just dumb. That's how you end up with situations like what happened with Dimebag. But in any case, really sad that we're not going to get any more Absu. But ultimately, what matters is that this band is leaving a serious legacy and definitely a lasting impact on me in terms of how I view black metal and just doing your own thing in music regardless of the genre, because they really did that. Like I said, they're kind of ahead of their time and were doing things just in their own way, and that made them stand out. It made them exciting. I also think that Prescriptor will go down as not only one of the most memorable drummers of all time, but also vocalists. Again, like, you hear his weird screaming style and you just know it's him instantaneously. Like, there's something so important to be said about that in a frontman. That's something I definitely value out of a band, is they don't have this kind of like generic scream that everybody else is doing. Like, I want you to sound different, and they've definitely got that. I can't wait to see what he and also Vis Krom end up doing on future projects, because they're both extremely talented. There's going to be a silver lining here. We're going to see some new bands come out of this, and that's just kind of the way these things go. And also, another band to go out at the top of their game. Better to do that than to fizzle out over time. So to Absu, this band will always be one of my favorites, not only in metal, not only in black metal, but just in music in general, for all the reasons I just gave. And if you have not jumped on the Absu bandwagon, now is just as good a time as any to track down these albums and give them a listen. You will not be disappointed. Y'all, thanks as always for watching, and of course, as always, if you haven't already, if you're new here, please do subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, give us a comment, share it. Hop down the description, you can find links to all of our social media. You can sign up for the email newsletter that I send out personally every Friday to keep you up to date with what's going on at metaltrenches.com, and also links to our Patreon and Subscribestar. Just $1 a month makes a huge difference in helping me cover my overhead costs and continue to justify the time that I put into this. But this is Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.